All right. As guided in your course that there is test, is it test 2? There's a test that requires you to understand utility theory, which is also called consumer theory, and then you understand production and the market structure. So what we have to do in this evening, we have to focus on the consumer theory, which you also call the utility theory. We'll try to do a couple of examples and questions from the exams and the assignments. Then from there, we'll end there, then we'll continue into accounting, just as suggested. So we say that we'll start with this micro, then the accounting. Right. So this is one of the questions that you had in your assignment, assignment number 1. But it is important that you understand. Maybe we reason together. I know you already have ideas, but I want to use this to teach and to explain other things that are not here in this question. So the question says, from the where is I can hear some sound. Is it Micah? Oh, okay. Right. So from the following total utility function schedule, you are given a schedule for total utility. Now, let me start by defining what total utility is. Starting from utility. So utility simply means the total satisfaction, right? Utility means the satisfaction that you obtain in this context from the commodity that you consume. Okay, the total satisfaction that a consumer obtains from the consumption of 1 unit of a given commodity is called the total utility. So you gain some satisfaction always when you take or you get to consume some commodity. So if you're given a certain commodity and once you consume a unit of that commodity, there is some satisfaction that you get. So the total satisfaction is called the total utility. Okay, it's called the total satisfaction. Then from there, we have got what is known as the marginal utility. The marginal utility simply means marginal utility. Marginal utility is the additional utility or additional satisfaction that a consumer obtains, that one obtains from consuming an extra unity of a commodity, of the given commodity, right? So now observe that there is that additional satisfaction that you get as you consume the given commodity. So you're getting that once you add in the consumption of a certain commodity, there is that incremental satisfaction, that additional satisfaction. That additional satisfaction you get from the consumption of that given commodity is called the marginal utility. The marginal utility is basically the additional utility, additional satisfaction that one obtains from consuming an extra unity of a given commodity. That is what we call the marginal utility. So if you're given an example, for example, let's give an example for, let's say you're consuming some mangoes, right? You have got 10 mangoes to consume. Before you start consuming, you always have got that desire. That desire is at maximum, you really want to consume because you haven't started consuming. Now observe what happens. What happens is that this is your graph now. This is the graph. As you start consuming, let's have the units here: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, through up to 10. So what is going to happen is that you have, so the total utility will be increasing and increasing as you do what? As you increase in the consumption of the given commodity. That is to say, once you're consuming a certain commodity, the total satisfaction is increasing. From 0, once you consume 1, then total satisfaction of the desire is increasing and increasing. That you feel like you want to take another one. Okay. Once you get one, like you want to get another one. Once you get one mango out of those 10 mangoes, you feel like you want to get another one again so that you can continue up to a certain level. When you reach at a certain level, in this case, you reach at 4, you take the 4th mango. What will happen is that you would have reached the maximum, okay, which is called the total utility. Total utility would have reached maximum. So what it means is that at that point, like, you're fully satisfied. You're no longer willing to take more of mango. You're like, no, I think now I'm satisfied. I can make. That is at the point, like number 4, when you consume the 4th, you feel like you no longer want to continue. It means that total utility has reached the maximum. This maximum point is called the point of sachet. Okay, the maximum point is called the point of sachet. When you reach the point, you're no longer willing to consume. Okay, yeah, you like consuming that particular commodity. So what will happen is this. Observe what happens is that as you increase now the consumption of that particular commodity, as you keep adding the units after this point, this maximum point, utility starts what? Decline. It will decreasing. Point. It starts decreasing. Then there is also what is known as marginal utility. Now, see how marginal utility moves. Marginal utility moves in a very different way. It has got its. Let me draw it using the blue graph. Yeah, marginal utility will start from here. It will be increasing and increasing as total utility is increasing up to a certain, maybe 2. When you just consume 2, then it starts what? Decreasing. It will start decreasing and decreasing. Observe that marginal utility is decreasing as the total utility is increasing. Total utility is still increasing. Total utility is for this ready graph. Total utility is still increasing, but marginal utility has started what? Decreasing. Now there are some key things that I want you to get, maybe 3 key things that I want you to learn from here. Observe that when total utility is at maximum, okay, when total utility is at maximum, marginal utility is equal to 0. When total utility is at maximum, okay, then marginal utility is equal to what? Is equal to 0. Observe that this is 0. Okay, this is our 0. So marginal utility will be here. When total utility is at maximum here, then marginal utility will be 0. And again, when total utility starts decreasing, okay, when total utility starts decreasing, like what will happen is that marginal utility will be equal to what? To negative. Okay. By the time immediately total utility starts decreasing here after the point of sachet, then marginal utility will become negative. Okay, will become negative. That's what happens. Then the other thing that we have to learn is that total utility is increasing. As total utility is increasing, even marginal utility is increasing up to just a certain point. That's increasing up to a certain point. Then it starts what? Decreasing. So it is decreasing, and as total utility is increasing here, marginal utility will be increasing. Once total utility reaches the maximum, then marginal utility becomes 0, and then beyond the point of sachet or the maximum point of total utility, marginal utility becomes negative. Did you get that, or do I have a question on that before you can do questions? Because I want you to understand the basics, the concepts, some concepts before you can do the questions. Yeah.
Is there good evening, sir.
Yes, madam.
Yes, I would love you to go back a bit when you're talking about the decrease and the increase. There, I didn't get it right.
Oh, okay. All right. So I was saying that, let me see the green, let me use the green marker. So I was saying that, observe that as total utility, this graph which is in red is representing total utility. As you are consuming on the horizontal axis here, you have the units of that given commodity. Let's say it's mango. These are mangoes. Okay, these are units of mangoes. So as you are consuming these mangoes, as you are adding the number of the mangoes that you're consuming, you find that total utility is increasing, right? Is increasing up to a certain point. When you take the fourth mango or a certain unit, there is a certain unit that gives you the maximum total utility. So once you consume the fourth unit, you find that total utility reaches the maximum point. When you reach the maximum, it means like you can't go beyond the maximum. You have reached there. So you can't do more than that. So what will happen is that beyond the maximum, once you take the fifth one, the total utility starts decreasing. Similarly, when you get satisfied, like normal eating, you can be eating as you start taking, maybe you take 1 spoon, you feel like you want to take another one, you get another one. When you just reach that point when you are satisfied, if you continue from there, what will happen? You end up maybe vomiting. Yeah, you might maybe vomit. Like you can't take that anymore. So the additional satisfaction is decreasing at that point. Then what will happen now? That is about total utility. About marginal utility, this one which is in blue. As total utility is at this point is increasing, just up to your marginal utility starts increasing, while the total utility is still increasing. Total utility reaches the maximum here, we call the point of sachet. Then this marginal utility is 0. It will reach here 0, okay? Like marginal utility will become 0. Then should you consume beyond 4 units, what will happen is that total utility will start decreasing, but marginal utility will be negative by that time, which means the additional satisfaction will be negative. You no longer have any additional satisfaction by consuming any unit after 4 units. Did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, at least we have gotten some concepts. Then now, a schedule, by the way, a schedule is just a list of, it's a table of numbers, okay, that are there to draw some relationship between 2 variables under concern. So that's a schedule. You can have a demand schedule, for example. A demand schedule gives you the what? The prices. Let me use another marker, not this one. It gives you the prices and the what? The quantity. So you have some prices and the respective quantities that are demanded around that what? at that particular price. This is called a demand schedule. You also have the supply schedule. You have the PPF schedule. This one is called the total utility schedule. So total utility schedule simply means the total utility that you gain by consuming a certain quantity or unit of a certain commodity. So like when you have QS, like QS, I like putting these things horizontal. Let me just rewrite this table. QX, like this. I'm asking that I write it like this. Total utility of X, and then so that we can have the marginal utility of X. So quantities are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and what? And 7, right? Then total utility, which is the total satisfaction. When you consume 0, if you have not consumed the thing, you have 0 satisfaction. And that's true. Then when you consume just the 1 unit, you get how much utility? 4 units. Then you consume 2, you have 14, right? Then you have 20 by consuming 3. You have 24 by consuming 4. You have 26 by consuming what? 5. And you have 26 again by consuming 6. Then you have 24. Okay. So now, the question says, derive the marginal utility schedule. So they want you to write, to come up with the schedule for marginal utility. So I've already written the column, this MUX is marginal utility, okay? MUX is marginal utility. So how do you come up with the marginal utility? So now observe, marginal utility, I've said, is additional satisfaction, which is defined as the change in total utility over the change in what? In quantity. This triangle, like a small triangle, means change. Or in other words, if you want, you can say total utility 2 minus total utility 1 over quantity 2 minus quantity 1. It's basically the same thing. This formula and this one is just the same. Okay. So this is the formula that you use to find what? Marginal utility, meaning you are subtracting the higher utility minus the immediate utility. Then you divide the difference between the higher quantity minus the previous quantity. So now, how is it done? When you have 0 utility, for example, when you have 0 units and total utility is 0, it means even marginal utility will be 0. So you always start with total utility at unit 1, at the first unit. Hello, at the first unit, total utility is equal to what? To marginal utility. That's what we said even from the graph that I drawn. Total utility and the marginal utility, they are starting from the same point. So when you have 0 units, total utility is equal to what? To marginal utility. That's why when total utility at the first unit is 0 here, it means even marginal utility is what? Is 0. Okay. So now, how do we find the total utility for consuming? Yes, madam.
On total utility here, on the last figure, is it supposed to be 25 or 24? Or maybe I didn't hear you clearly.
It is 24. Like it is 24. I'm getting it from this schedule. Like, can you see this schedule?
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it was not so clear. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So observe now what is happening. So we are subtracting. Check what we are doing. We are subtracting. So we are saying total utility 2 to find the marginal utility of consuming 1 commodity. So you say, what is the total utility at consuming 1 commodity? Is what? Is 4, right? Minus the previous utility is 0. This is 0. Divided by, what is the unit? The quantity. The quantity here, Q2, is 1 minus the previous quantity is 0, 0, right? So say 4 over 1, which is equal to what? To 4. So our marginal utility at this point, when you just consume one commodity, is what? Is 4. Then what about at 2? When you consume two units, okay, of this commodity, when you consume 2 units of this commodity, you have total utility is 14, right? Total
To be
utility is
12.
14 minus the previous one is 4, right? Over total utility, total quantity, see, 2 minus the previous quantity 1, that should give us 10, right? So here it is 10. That's our marginal utility. And then when you go to the third one, the third unit, you come to unit number 3. What is total utility? It is 20, right? 20 minus 14 divided by what? 3 minus 1. Yeah. Which is, of which I've seen that for the quantities, they just have a difference of 1. So for this question, only for this question. So what is 24 minus 20 minus 6? Oh, not minus 6. 20 minus 14 is 6, right? I have 6 here. So now, my comment for the units, check that these the difference is just 1, right? But there are some questions where you have the difference in the units is not 1. Maybe you can have 1 here, then here you have 5. Okay, here you have maybe 9. Okay, like these units, like they are not, like the difference in the units is not uniform. That's why you need to divide like this. Okay, but in this case, since we just have the same, the only difference which is there is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, which means we know that we'll always be dividing by 1, but don't take it by default that you always divide by 1, because sometimes you have those units where you have I'm sure you're getting what I'm saying. Like these units are not the same. They don't give the same difference. So at that point, it's very necessary that you divide or save the formula. So continuing from where we have ended, we are on unit number 4. Should be unit number 4. For unit number 4, we have 24. What? Minus 20 divided by 4 minus 3. Right? Observe that at unit number 6.
So on unit number 3, is it 3
it is
or
giving
6?
us 0. Number?
Unit 3, is it 6 or 3?
20 minus 14. 20 minus 14, sir.
Because I've seen there is 3
You are
minus
talking about
1.
here. Okay, check. It is 20 minus 14 divided by 3 minus 2, right? Isn't it? On unit number 3. 20 minus 14 is 6 divided by 1, which is 6. Here, right?
Okay, there was a 3 minus 1 there in the first time.
Oh, yeah. Like it is to subtract the previous unit. The previous unit here is 4. So okay, but it's fine that you've gotten. Yeah. Observe that on unit number 6 you have 0, because it will be 26 minus 26, right? 26 minus 26, which is giving us 0 divided by 1, that is 0. Then immediately after 0, check when marginal utility is 0. What did we say? What comes next from the graph? Immediately marginal utility is 0. Then afterwards it becomes what? Negative. So observe, you will say 24, right? 24 minus 26. divided by 7 minus 6. That gives us negative what? Negative 2. Did you get that? Do I have a question on how to fill this schedule? Because this is the utility theory that you need to learn. And that's what it is. Any question from anyone? Hello? Like anyone is free to ask the question. Like you need to understand what is going on.
So
Good
you're
evening,
saying
Yes, madam. Then the sir will speak.
Okay, sorry, just to take you back on marginal utility. You said marginal
Yes.
utility is the addition of satisfaction that the
The,
consumer gets.
mhm.
I didn't get you clear on this one.
The additional satisfaction that a consumer obtains from consuming an extra commodity, an extra unit of the given commodity. Okay, meaning as you add, there is that additional satisfaction that you get. Did you get that?
Okay. Okay. Now
Yes,
you
sir.
said, so is it always that you say when you reach 4, it's a maximum?
No, it's not always that when you reach 4 is maximum. It depends on the question, right?
Okay.
It just depends on the question. Like there is a certain unit, as you're going to see, a certain unit will give you what? 4, or you give you 4. Like for example, from this question that we have, who can tell us what the maximum utility is here? You can observe which unit gives us the maximum utility.
6 and 26.
That at maximum, marginal utility is equal to 0. Once you get marginal utility equal to 0, that unit is the maximum. And you can see even from observation that total utility has been what? Has been increasing and increased up to 26, right? And I've said that from the graph, immediately after maximum point of total utility, what happens? It starts decreasing. After 26, you go back to 24, it will start coming down like that. See, the graph will depict the same thing that I was talking about. It's only that there where there was 4, that 4 was imaginary. I was just trying to give the concept. But now we have the actual figures. It is 6 in this question. It can be 8 in the other question or 10 in the other question. So just to get the gist behind this. Did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Right. Sir, you can proceed with the question.
No, I'm clear. I wanted to ask about the 0. So now you have just explained it.
Oh, okay. All right. Then, any other question from anyone else? Now, here is the other thing now. I want to show you something else again different. Imagine, can you imagine that you don't have what? Imagine that you don't have total utility. Let's erase total utility and we're given marginal. We're given marginal utility. Let's imagine that in your exam, they have decided to give you marginal utility instead of total utility now. Then they want you to find the total utility schedule. So we are erasing marginal utility, or we are erasing total utility. We want to fill in the utility function. How can we find that? Follow nicely. I've said these questions, I'm just using them to deliver like a lot of concepts from one question. So yeah, that's why I'm not just specifically answering the question, but I'm trying to add some things so that you can get to understand. So how do we start? Understand that I said that always at unit, the first unit, like at the first point, marginal utility is equal to what? Total utility. So it means that if total utility here, the first total utility is 0, even marginal utility is what? Is 0. Then from there now, listen, from there, you just start adding. At unit number 1, you say, this is 0 here, 0, okay? You add marginal utility 1 plus marginal utility 2, okay? Marginal utility 1 is 0 plus marginal utility 2 is what? Is 4. Is 4, right? So 0 plus 4, you find that total utility will be 4. Then again, the next unit will be 4 plus what? Plus 10. That should give us what? 14, right? Then from here you say 6 that is 14, right? Then what is the 14 plus 6?
16.
12.
It's 14 plus 6 is 20, right? 14 plus 6 is 20. Then you say 20 plus this 4 is what? Is 24, right? Then 24 plus 2, it is 26. 26 plus 0, it is 26, right? Then 26 minus 2, it is what? 24. Have you seen that you've gotten back your, what is this? Yeah, your total utility schedule. Yeah, so because I want you to understand, because sometimes you can just be given the total utility schedule instead of the marginal utility. So don't just get used to marginal utility. You should be able to do the opposite. So in short, you're just accumulating this, adding and adding. Yes, madam.
Yes, sir. My network had blinked. I didn't hear how to get the
Total
total
utility.
utility. Yes.
Oh, all right. So I said that for total utility, we know that at first unit, the first one, total utility is equal to what? To marginal utility. That's why at the first point here, if marginal utility is 0, even total utility would what? Will be 0, because they start at the same point. That's what we said. Then now, observe that from here, you just have to add like this unit here plus the next marginal utility. So you say 0 plus 4, it gives us what? 4. 4 plus 10 here, it gives us what? 14. 14 plus this 6, it gives us 20. And the 20 plus this 4 gives us 24. 24 plus the 2 is 26. 26 plus 0 here, it is what? 26. And the 26 minus 2 is 24. Did you get that?
Yes, I got it, sir.
Oh, okay. Then now, so what is there is you should be like, you don't need to get stuck. Even if this thing is horizontal, I'll just put it vertical like this. Even if it is horizontal, like the way how it was here, the way how it was, this one was horizontal, right? It's the same thing. It is basically the same thing, right? It is the same thing. You don't need to have the mind rotated. Marginal utility X, right? I've said marginal utility and total utility, they're equal at first unit, so you have 0. What is the next point? So you say 4 minus 0, you have 4. 14 minus 4, you have what? 10, right? 20 minus 4, you have 6. 24 minus 4, you have 4. 26 minus 4 minus 24, you have 2. 26 minus 26 is 0 here, and that is negative what? Negative 2. Have you seen that? It's just the same thing, all right? Even if you have a horizontal schedule or a vertical one. Did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. We move on now. The question says, can you plot the total utility and the marginal utility schedule? Total utility schedule and the marginal utility schedule. So we need first to write this so that you see how we plot this. We had 0 here, we had 4, we had what? We had 6, and we had the, what, that's 4? We had 4. From the 4, we had the 2, we had 0 here. Is it 0? Was it the schedule that we had? Let's start afresh. Our marginal utility schedule is needed here for us to plot it. So we started with 0 here. 4 minus 0 is 4. 14 minus that is 10, yeah. Then 20 minus that is 6. 24 minus that is 4. 20 that is 2. And this is 0, negative what? 2. So now, how do you draw this schedule? How do you draw or plot? Check now how you're plotting. So the quantities are always horizontal. Okay, let me just write these on top so that you can have enough space. Of 0, 4, 10, 6, 4, 2, 0, and the negative 2. Yeah. Okay. We want to plot this, right? Quantity is always on horizontal, like, so our quantity is from 0 up to 7. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? It is always on the horizontal axis. Then total utility is vertical. Total utility and marginal utility is vertical. So let's plot for total utility. Our total utility is from 0, we have 4. We can put in the groups of, I think 4, 4. 4, 4s are okay. Okay, say 4 or 5, I think. Let's say 5, we have 10 here, we have 15, we have 20, and 25, right? So we want to plot the total utility. So total utility, the first one, let me put it in red. Total utility, we have at unit 0. It's 0, 0, right? So we plot here. Let me use the other marker to plot. We have 0 here, right? Then the next one, when the quantity is 1, we have 1, 4, which should be somewhere here, right? Just the same way how you are plotting in mathematics. Then you have 2, 14. 2, 14 is somewhere here for total utility. 3, 20, 3, 20 here. 4, 24, just below 25. Then 5, 26, just after 25. Then 6 again, here it is. Then after 7 is 24 again, meaning it has gone down. Okay. So if you are to plot this, to graph this, it will be a joined line like this. This is for total. This is your total utility. Have you seen that immediately after 6 units, it has started what? Falling. Are we okay on how we graph the total utility before I can talk about the, what's this? The marginal utility. How to graph the marginal utility. Are we okay?
Repeat.
Hello.
Yes, it's clear.
It's clear.
Okay. All right. So just plot the same way how you plot just on those same graphs you were doing in mathematics in high school. Like you're doing, these are coordinates, okay? You know, x, y. So your x's are these on the horizontal axis. So you start with your q's are more like your x's. and then your total utility is on your y-axis. That is the vertical axis. So it says 0,0 plot, right? 1,4, 2,14, you know those things. 3,20, just like that, then you have the graph. Then for marginal utility as well, it starts with 0,0, so it will start from 0. Let me use the blue. Let me use the red to plot so that you can use the blue. So 0,0 for marginal utility. Then at 1 is 4, 1,4. So you've seen that here they are equal. From here they are equal. Then 2,10, 2,10 here, 3,6. It has started decreasing. You've seen immediately after 2 units, it has started decreasing. So it's 3,6 immediately after 5. Then 4,4, 4,4, and the 5,2, right? So just above here, and the 6,0 here at 0, and then it's 7, -2. So it has become a negative slope. So what you do now to plot this, let me use the blue one so that you can follow. It is same from here to here. Then it moves like this. Oh, I've made a mistake. I'm not supposed to use a liner. I'm supposed to use the pen. Where's the pen? Okay. So I'm saying it is the same from here. You've seen, this is your total utility. Have you seen that immediate total, your marginal utility, sorry, your marginal utility. Your marginal utility, once it reaches 0, then total utility will be at maximum. At unit number 6, total utility is maximum, then marginal utility is what? This is 0. Did you get that? So this is almost the same thing that I was showing you when I started explaining the concepts. Did you get that? Do I have a question to entertain?
Sir, I didn't really understand on the marginal utility.
Even me,
Okay.
I don't understand
coordinates.
on marginal utility.
Don't say you don't understand. Just say you didn't understand. Then we'll be together. Okay. All right. So I've said, can you see the schedule for marginal utility? Are you able to see the schedule? This is the numbers on top here for marginal utility. Yeah. So now, what is happening? You are plotting them against the quantity here. This quantity here. So the first quantity, at the first quantity, you have 0, 0, right? 0 and 0. So you plot here 0, 0, have that link. Then at the next quantity is 1. From 1 is 1,4. So 4 is just below 5 here. Remember, this graph is not drawn to the scale because this is not a graph. It's just the board. Then 2, 2, this 2.
Thank you.
2,10, right? 2,10, isn't it? 2,10 like that. Then 3,6, right? 3,6. 6 is just above 5. Have you seen, right? Then 4,4, just below 5. And 5,2 is here. 6,0 is somewhere here. Then 7, -2 will be down. So to graph this, you're just joining these points. Okay, before we join the points, are we fine on how we put the points?
Yes, sir.
We're now clear.
No, the questionnaires. Those who are questioning, are you fine?
I'm
on how
okay,
we
yes,
plot?
sir.
Yes, it's clear now.
Yeah, then you can join these points. You've seen, it comes like this. This is a marginal utility, right? Happy now? Then, do I have any question before I can move somewhere else to talk about something else? Do I have any question?
Yes, evening, Mr. Arion.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to find out, how did you come up with the numbers on top of the table, the 0, 4, 10, 6, 4, because I think I had lost network.
Oh, this is the schedule for total utility, right? It was just the same schedule for total utility. The same one we had. It's only that I've put it on top here so that I can create space. Were you there when we were creating the total for the schedule for total utility? Like, did you get the schedule for total utility? How we get total utility, or how, sorry, not total utility, sorry, marginal utility. We're given total utility already. Did you get how we find the marginal utility? Hello? Have I lost him already?
I don't know, because the network is quite bad. Yo, I didn't hear you clearly.
Oh, okay. So
Yes,
are you back
I'm saying
now?
the network is quite bad, so I couldn't.
Get. Oh, so this is the schedule for marginal utility, okay? So how do you find marginal utility? We're saying that you just say the total utility, which is up, not a liner, a total utility, the higher total utility, TO2 minus the lower total utility, you get. Then you divide by quantity 2 minus quantity 1. So that is to say the higher total utility at the first point, right? Total utility starts from the same place with the marginal utility. So they all start at 0. So therefore the higher utility, total utility will be 4. So you just say 4, this 4 minus the previous utility is 0, divided by the difference in quantity will be 1 minus 0, like 1 minus 0. That gives us 4. That's how we got this 4 here as the marginal utility for 1 unit. Then at 2 units, you say this 14 minus this 4, okay? It gives us 10. Then you say 20 minus 14 gives us 6, right? Then 24 minus 20 gives us this 4. 26 minus 24 gives us 2. 26 minus 26 gives us this 0. And 24 minus 26 gives us negative 2. So that's how you get the total utility schedule. By the way, the class is being recorded as well. Yeah. Did you get that? I don't know if I have lost. Vasa, are you fine now or I've lost him?
The network is quite bad, sir. You can continue.
Okay, is it fine with everyone? Is it the same with everyone that you can't hear me, or is just from his end?
We can hear you.
Can hear you.
Oh.
From my side, you are clear.
We can
Oh,
hear
okay.
you.
I think it's just from his end. Anyways, the class is being recorded. We can just request that he endures and try to find time to go through the recording. All right. Can you determine now where the law of diminishing marginal utility begins from? Oh, I have erased this. So by the way, the law of diminishing marginal utility, what does it state first? It states that any additional unit unity of a commodity consumed, of a commodity consumed, of a good consumed adds less utility than the previous utility added, than the previous unit added, than the previous unity, and the previous unity added. Yeah. Did you get this here? This is the basic way of saying it. Any additional units of a commodity consumed, it adds less and less to the total what, to the utility than the previous unity added, which simply means this is like total utility is as additional satisfaction is decreasing and decreasing as you keep on consuming this commodity. And you saw that from the schedules. You saw that as we kept on increasing, then total utility was decreasing and decreasing until it became zero, until it goes to the negative. So that's what the law of diminishing utility states. So now the question that can you determine the point at which it begins from? So the point at which marginal utility starts decreasing, that's what they mean. Immediately after consuming 2 units, isn't it? We saw that when we had 2 units, immediately after 2 units, our total utility has started, not our total utility was increasing, then marginal utility after 2 units started what? Decreasing, right? It was around 2 units. So that's what happens. That's where the law starts what? Operating from. Did you get that? The point where marginal utility stops increasing and starts decreasing. Marginal utility. When marginal utility starts decreasing, that's the point where the law of diminishing marginal utility begins to operate from. Did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, now. The question number B says, consider a consumer who consumes only 2 goods, that is peas and beans. She has an income 10. So our income, let's use I for income. No, let's use M. Let's say our income M is equal to, how much is this? 10 kwacha. Let's use kwachas. And then our price, the price for beans, the price for beans is what? This is 0.2 kwacha, which is 20 ngwe. And the price for peas, PB, PP, let's say this is price for peas, it is equal to what? 0.4. Now check, should get this concept clearly. It was there in your assignment, it will be there in the test, you will have it in the exams. And then let us say, let M equal to income, right? That's our income, and PB equal to 0.2, which is the price for beans, right? PB, let PB be the price for beans, and the PP be the price for peas. Then, like B, capital B what? B beans, right? This will be beans, and the P will be equal to what? The units of peas. Now, right, so I was saying the law of diminishing marginal utility states that as you add or any additional unit of the commodity consumed, okay, it adds less and less to the total utility than the previous unity added, which means the total utility is marginal utility is decreasing as you consume, as you increase in the consumption of the given commodity. So as you add the units consumed, then find that marginal utility is what is decreasing. Did you get that? The questionnaire. Okay, we move. So we need to come up with what is known as a budget constraint or a budget line. So they're saying consider a consumer who consumes only two goods, right? Peas and beans. She has an income of 10. The price of beans is that 20p per kg, and which is same as 0.2p, while the price of peas is 40, which is same as 0.4, yeah, in terms of money. So now the question is this one. Can you suppose that the consumer consumes only 30 kgs of beans, assuming that she spends all her income? That's our assumption. How many kgs of peas is she going to consume? Okay. So you need to come up with what is called the budget constraint. The budget constraint or the budget line, it is just an equation which gives us the possible combination of the goods or services that a consumer can consume, given the price, the income, the prices of those commodities, and the income. So we are trying to look at how can the consumer divide the incomes. If they are given the price of those commodities, the two commodities or the two services, and the income, how can they divide? That's the question. So usually the budget constraint will be the price of that commodity times the quantity of that commodity. Let's say for beans, price of the beans times the quantity, the units of beans, plus for peas, that should be equal to the equation. So this equation is telling us that if you multiply the price of beans times the units of beans or the kgs of beans plus the price of peas times the unit, the quantity of peas, when you add these, they should be equal to our income that we have. Because what we are trying to do is to divide our income between these two commodities. You just have 10 kwacha, then you want to divide your 10 kwacha. How do you effectively divide it? That's the question. So this is your equation. So they are saying that, in the question they're saying that, can you suppose that the consumer only consumes 30 kgs of beans, meaning where there is B now, the quantity for beans is what? Is 30 kg. And he assumes that she spends all her income, meaning she uses all the 10 kwacha on what? On beans. How many kgs of peas is she going to consume? So observe what is going to happen. So in the equation, we know PB, right? Our PB is 0.2. So let me use the red marker now. 0.2 PB. Then PP is 0.4. Here we are putting numbers now. 0.4 P. Yeah. Then our income, we are given that it is what? It is 10. So this is our new equation. So given this equation now, we are told that we are asking that we have to assume, to make an assumption that the consumer consumes 30 kgs. So where there is B now, on B of beans, it's 30. So we say 0.2 times what? 30, right? Plus 0.4 P is equal to what? To income 10. Okay, so how many kgs of peas is she going to consume? How many kgs of peas is she going to consume? This person has spent their income. So they have to spend it within these two goods, right? Within the peas and beans. So it means you are making P the subject of the formula, right? What is 0.2 times 30?
6.
It is 6 plus 0.4p is equal to 10. 0.4p is equal to 10 minus what? Minus 6, right? 10 minus 6. We divide it through by 0.4 by 0.4, right?
10 kg.
So our P is equal to 10 minus 6 is 4, right? 4 divided by 0.4. What is 4 divided by 0.4?
It's 10 kg.
10 kgs, okay? So that's how much of P's the person is going to consume. Please get this concept, is very important, so critical when it comes to the issues of budget constraint and the utility theory. So just get it.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, madam.
So when making the assumption for the price, is it the price or the quantity of the beans? You can pick on any random number.
Oh, on the assumptions for what?
For is it the quantity of the beans, the 30 that we picked on? I'm asking whether you can just pick on any number since we're just making assumptions.
No, you can't pick any number. You will be given that number to use. So we are given that it is 30.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only that the question is phrased that assume, meaning, yeah, we are just assuming these numbers. In short, these are not actual numbers, or this situation is just an assumption. Did you get that?
Yes, I got it. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. And so, anyone else?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, madam.
Where did we get the 30 from?
The 30 is given in the question, madam.
Okay.
They're saying that, can you suppose that the consumer consumes 30 kgs of beans, meaning that's the quantity of beans, right? Remember the equation that I showed you, it says the price of beans times beans price, the price of peas times what? Peas should be equal to income, our income, which is 10. So where there is this, we know that the price of these beans is 0.2 already. So here there was 0.2, and here there is what? 0.4 here. We are given all this. There is given. So this is what we have. This is our equation that we are using. Did you get it? Hello.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So now let's continue. We are asked to assume that the price of peas now falls. Okay. The price of peas falls. It has fallen from where? From 40 to 20, which is 0.2. So peas was 0.4, right? It has fallen to 0.2. So it means our new equation, check, our new equation will be 0.2b plus here it will no longer be 0.4, it will be 0.2 as well. P is equal to income 10, right? Our income is 10. This is our new equation. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we are asked to do what? What are we doing? We are asked to assume that the consumer still consumes 30 kgs of beans, meaning it has not changed on B, right? It's still 0.2 times 30 kgs of beans plus 0.2p equal to what? Equal to 10. Then the question is, find the new quantity of peas, meaning we're still making P the subject of the formula, right? 0.2 times 30 is 6. Plus 0.2p equal to what? Equal to 10, which should be 0.2p equal to what? 10 minus 6 is 4. We divide through by, yes, sir. Mr. Chituka, you have a question?
Yes, I want to find out why we are changing the complete numbers to decimals, especially for the price.
Oh, because you see now in the bracket, you are given the units for money, like this is money. Then here it was just a 20p. So it was, yeah, but you can just use like 20, 20, 20. But the easiest way of doing it, I think the decimals are convenient for us. Did you get that?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, right. So what do we get? What is the new price for peas, or the quantity for peas?
It's
4
20.
divided by is 20. So now I want you to observe something. When the price for this commodity reduced, the quantity increased. Okay. The price was at 4, then the quantity that was consumed was what? Was 10, right? For peas. But immediately it reduced. What happened? Immediately it was reduced. What happened was that this quantity did what? Increase. What happened to the quantity? It increased to 20 again. This is an obedience to the law of demand, which states that there is a what? There's a negative relationship between price and the quantity demanded, right? Once you reduce the price, even the quantity demanded increases, isn't it? And the opposite is true. I don't know if you're following. Anyone can still ask us a question. Okay. All right. Question number 3 says, after the decrease in the price of peas to 0.2, assume that the consumer is just as well off as she was in 1. If she has an income of 7, okay. However, with that income, okay. So we are assuming that the consumer is still indifferent as the consumer was in 1, right? Even after the decrease in the price. So now, if the consumer has the income of 7.6, this is a decrease in income you have observed. Income has decreased from 10 to this one, to 760. However, with that income, let's see the question. What does the question say in the next? With that income, the question reads, however, with that income, the new price of peas, how does it read? It should read as, however, with that income and the new, with that income and the new price of peas, she would have consumed 20 kg of what? Of beans instead of 30. Find the quantity of peas she would have consumed in this case. Okay. So our equation is 0.2 B plus C. The price is still the same, isn't it? The price is still the same, but for peas it has decreased to 0.2, right? P is equal to the income, which is 7.60. So they are saying that he has now consumed 20 kgs of beans. So we have 20 kgs of what? Of beans, where we are putting 30. We'll put 20 here plus 0.2 P, that should be equal to 7.60, right? And so from here, what is the 0.2 times 20?
Four.
This is 4 plus 0.2p is equal to 7.60. So from here, we make P the subject of the what? Of the formula. We make P the subject of the formula. Let's make P the subject of the formula. So we'll have 0.2p, that should be equal to what? 7.60 minus 4, right? It should be 0.2p, that is equal to, what is 7.60 minus C? This should be 3.60, isn't it? Is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we divide it through by 0.2 by 0.2. What do we get as the new quantity of P's?
18 kg.
18. Right. So have you seen that the quantity for for this is now
Yes, sir.
18? Yeah, 18 for PZ. So that's how we are going through this. Anyway, it will be getting better and better as we do many examples as we are moving. And it will be getting clearer and clearer. Then, can we find the substitution effect? Can we find the substitution effect due to the decrease in the price of peas? That is what's the time, right? Given. What could be the time? Okay, this is the 20 what? Oh, 2020. Should be 2020. 2020. It is 2020. Okay. It is 2020. Okay, in the last 20 minutes, not 20 minutes, but agreed that we have a 10 minutes break, but we can reduce our break. Let's do some 5 minutes. We check on this. But again, just before we continue, can we have class tomorrow again, like for micro? Is it possible that tomorrow we can still meet earlier and
Yes.
like we can have an hour for micro before we can move to math? Just trying to cover up all the time for micro. I'm hearing your tests are coming soon. Anyway, it's just my thinking. I don't know.
Yes, we can have class.
Yeah. So we can have tomorrow, so that tomorrow we can have because the concept of indifferent of substitution effect and income effect, I can't do this in 5 minutes to make one understand. If I'm to teach to make someone understand, I can't present that in 5 minutes. We can have this and do in different scales tomorrow. Pack that evening. We can still do production theory tomorrow. The same tomorrow. Yeah, we can move faster. Just doing questions and questions. Yeah, we can just move faster. So I suggest that the co-host stop recording the class.